Welcome to Project Insight's Power Tutorial Series. Today's session is a 30-minute tutorial on how to instantly connect your development tools such as Azure DevOps and Jira with your project and time tracking workflows with Project Insight. We'll show you how to sync dev tasks, stories, and work items directly into your project workspace, auto-log time from development activity, unify visibility across technical and non-technical teams, forecast capacity, and track progress in real time. The goal of all of this is to be able to provide faster delivery and better resource alignment by eliminating manual steps and updates while giving real-time visibility without switching systems. A few housekeeping notes. Everyone will be on mute. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat as we go. This will be 30 minutes long, and the recording of this session will be accessible via the link you joined with today. I'm Matthew Sparks, and with me is Steve West, our founder and CEO at Project Insight. Steve, you ready to get going?
Yeah, definitely ready to talk about this because we talk about it quite a bit with our customers and prospects out there. Big challenge out there is that a lot of dev teams use either DevOps or Jira, and those tools just aren't equipped to do what a lot of project managers need to do, which is providing high-level reports, rolling up into programs and portfolios, and doing all of those other things. So we've obviously created an integration between DevOps and Project Insight and Jira and Project Insight. And one thing I'm going to note is that these integrations are not through, like a Zapier or any of these other third party. They're direct integrations. They work in real time so that data from DevOps or Jira can be rolled right into Project Insight and vice versa. Project Insight data can go back out into DevOps. And the goal is that these dev teams that love their tool can keep using it, and you as a project manager don't have to double enter a bunch of stuff.
Really, often what we see is project managers are spending, anywhere from 12 to 30 plus hours a month in going here and here and here to unify that data, and these integrations do it all with a snap.
Yep, definitely. So we should get started. What you're looking at here is just a regular, simple workspace in Project Insight. This one is the DevOps Project Insight. We're going to show DevOps first, and just like any regular Project Insight, if you want to go look at your projects, you can just click here and you'll see a list of projects. In this view, you're going to see projects that are linked to DevOps and projects that aren't. Just like any project can be mapped to a DevOps project, or multiple items. So let me just kind of dig into it first. We're going to just talk about how this works at a fundamental level, and then we'll go over how to set it up and what some of the options are, because there's a lot of different ways to do it, especially because lots of teams work in these tools in many different ways. So from here, I have a project plan. This one here, DevOps integration into project or demo project. And I have a list of tasks, and you'll note one thing about projects that are linked to DevOps or Jira is there's a links column. And right here, you'll see these are the IDs of the item. In DevOps, right here is the external type. These are columns that you can drag right into any view you want. You can share it. So whenever I'm working in a project that's linked to DevOps, I like to put the links there. So from here, a project manager can create a task in Project Insight. So we're going to say we're going to send some work to DevOps, and you can put in their name here. I can put in a description of the work. I can enter the duration, how many hours I think it is. We can assign it to somebody. I'll assign it to myself just for simplicity, or this user here. And when I'm done, I'll hit save. And in the background, this is now being sent over to DevOps. Yeah.
And one of the other parts to note here is, it doesn't need to be this one-by-one piece, right? Within Project Insight, I can templatize my entire list here. That's so right. You can have it start from a template. You can have it start from an Excel file importation or even a Microsoft project file, and then choose what goes into DevOps, right, Steve?
That's right. You could work with a project plan and Project Insight first, and then decide, oh, I want to link this up now and do it then. Or like I'm showing you what happens where I already linked the project. I've already got things going on, and I just wanted to add one. But yeah, I could come in here and use the import or insert and add from a template. That all those are available here. But you quickly noted, you maybe didn't notice, but there is a new item number here from DevOps. So if I click on the task in Project Insight, you'll see there's number 51. It's a to-do in DevOps. It's assigned to Steve, and I can make a comment here from Project Insight. So making a comment from PI into DevOps, and I'm just showing the basic integration here. When I click on here now, I'm actually taken right to the DevOps, and there's that comment I just made just now.
1 second ago. Yeah.
Yeah. From here, a comment made from DevOps into PI is available here, and that's being sent over there too. Note as well, my hours that I put in Project Insight is already in here already, and also the assignment to Steve is already in here. So if I go in here and say, you know what, I'm doing this now, and I'm actually going to add an hour of completed work. Once I save that, if I navigate back to that task, you'll see there that comment is made there, and there should be an hour of time. There's that time that got added. So as the resource in DevOps continues to work this task, you can optionally have this information just go right into the time tracking of Project Insight, the time entries. So anyone doing billing work, for example, these time entries will come over into Project Insight, and they will show up on the timesheets already. So if I navigate over to the time entry grid, I should have, well, I'm not assigned to that, yeah, but I should have those time entries coming into there as well. So I believe this project's not active yet, but any data that comes from one side to the other will show up. These time entries up here, and that goes into there. Actually, I'm not logged in as Steve. I thought I was Steve, but that's why it's
You're in as Patrick. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Matt, maybe you'll pull that up and we'll show it in a little bit. But any time entry added in here, this has really been helpful for people because the resource in DevOps doesn't have to come in here and do all those other things. Also note that the status changed to in progress because I changed it over here. If I mark this done over here, or let me actually just switch this assignment to somebody else. So we'll say Dylan's going to do this, or Richard, I'll make it Richard. So we reassign this task. When I navigate back to DevOps, it'll be in a few seconds, it'll switch to Richard as well.
Which all of this, combination allows for, a 23% plus faster delivery on getting your work done, because typically a PM is going through their Excel sheet, they're then importing this into DevOps, going back and forth on how that all, the updates, the status is to get those actuals, wherein we're plugging it right into the tool that the PM and other operational teams are using right here.
That's right. So the other thing too is I can also add, let me just go back to that task list. I was showing you tasks being added from Project Insight into DevOps, but if we go to the boards, we can go in here and add a new work item that we want to put into here. So I'm going to actually add, let me go back to the work item list, and I believe I can just create a new work item if I want. Let's say a new issue, and this is task made in DevOps. Again, we'll assign it to somebody, Richard, add a description, and give it some effort. And now if I save it, that task is going to be added to this project plan. So there it is, number 52 just got added as well. So then you can go ahead and collaborate on that. So the real benefit here is that whether you can choose, by the way, to make this bidirectional or can go one way or the other, and that way you can at least see what's going on. The other thing too is this project's mapped entirely to DevOps, but you can say, I want to only map a summary. I want only things in this summary to go to DevOps, or I want things from DevOps to go into this summary. So you can actually have a project plan that has tasks that are not going into the dev tool that can be done in conjunction. And so this is where I think a lot of project managers end up having a project for everybody else and then a project for the dev team. And now you don't have to have the two different projects. You can see it all in one view. This will roll up into the program. It'll roll up into the portfolio all automatically.
And our other budgeting and capacity reports as well, right? Which is
right.
A nice strength of this. One of the other parts I think to note that's really convenient, and we have a lot of customers, controlling the levers. I can set a global setting for how this is going to work, and then I can even change that on a project by project basis, like Steve just mentioned, where maybe the summaries don't go, or these specific types of tasks are syncing one way or the other. So
yeah. And I'm going to go ahead now and show you how do I start this. So I've just showed what it's doing in a project that's already connected, but let's say I want to connect a project. So you could start a whole project the way you normally do, create a template, or you can just have a blank project. And I just made one here, a blank project, not connected at all. To connect it to your Azure DevOps, you'll click Edit. You'll choose your integration connections. If I click on one, then you can see there's one Azure DevOps here. By the way, if there's more than one Azure DevOps or a couple Jiras that you're connected to, they will appear here. So you cannot, this isn't just a one system to one system. You can actually have Project Insight connect to many DevOpses and many Jiras, because that's very frequently what we see in the field. So I'm going to click the one Jira DevOps I have in this demo site. Click on here, and then the first thing you'll do is click one of the projects in DevOps, and in this case I have two. I'll just pick software application. Then you can decide, how do I want to map to Project Insight? And this is a kind of a good question, because in DevOps or Jira, a project typically is like really more like a program. It never closes, it never stops, it goes on and on and on. You have 10 million tasks in your project in Jira or DevOps. But in reality, in order to be a project, you technically have to have, like, this is a goal that we want to be done by and how much effort and all that. A really simple way to do this would be to have a project in Project Insight connect to a single epic. So you might say, you know what, I want to connect to an epic, and then you pick which epic you're going to connect to, and you hit that button, and it'll start syncing with your default settings. Another scenario is you might have one project that connects to multiple epics, which you can do that as well. And also sometimes maybe you don't want to ever connect it to an epic because maybe you're not really working in DevOps or Jira that way. You can create like a label in DevOps or Jira that you want to map to, or you can say, I only want to map to certain kinds of types of issues or tasks in Jira. So you can choose those different ways to configure your connection. But this is how easy it is. You just create a project in Project Insight. This is assuming you've already installed the integration, so it does require to be installed. That does require an admin in both systems. So just calling that out, you need to be an admin in the DevOps and also an admin in PI to do it, or you need to work with your admin to do that. But once you've connected that, to map to a project is something a project manager can do. You don't need an engineer or software developer to do this.
And the admin need is really just more about the permission set. You're still doing all of that with your mouse, right? And going through and making that connection.
Well, one-time connection to the system. But once you've done that, now you've got the system just like what I was showing you before, where everything's linked up, and you've got your hours coming in from DevOps. On a singular project, though, to change the settings, you can simply go to Edit, go to your Azure DevOps. Because this is already connected, I'm taken to the configuration screen. And at the top here, you've got a really simple question. Enable DevOps to update PI. That means that data is coming from DevOps into Project Insight, and below here you'll have enable PI to update DevOps. If you want it to be a one way, you just uncheck the box. This would mean that DevOps only sends data to PI, and we never send data to DevOps. That's a common scenario. If you check this box and you uncheck that box, then only data from PI goes to DevOps, and we never receive any significant updates from DevOps. But most customers do this bidirectionally. And there is a video on this on this topic for all these different options. But fundamentally, you need to say, I want to enable this at all. This automatically adds tasks to Project Insight. This one is a way to limit how you want items to come in. I only want items that are a certain kind of work type, or only items that are a certain kind of state. You can do this by inclusion or by exclusion, and you can say only from this date to that date. So sometimes you have a lot of old data in there. You don't want to do anything, I only want things that were updated as of July, created after July 1st. So you can segment this data any different way. Up in here, you can say automatically sync comments, maintain the hierarchy of DevOps and PI, sync the assign to column, sync the status. If you don't want the status to sync, you just uncheck the box. If you want DevOps to update dates in Project Insight, you choose this. Sometimes customers don't want the dates in DevOps to ever just do anything in PI. You just want to be able to have Project Insight do the scheduling. DevOps won't do it. You would uncheck the box. You can have it synchronize the sprints as well. Similar options below.
And the real joy of all of this, right, Steve, is that you gain that 100% real-time visibility between the two different tools without the dev teams needing to switch anything, and without the dev teams then needing to give you those updates that you're requesting over Teams or email or through meetings, right? Everybody gets time back to actually get the work done.
Yep, that's right. Now we're running out of time for DevOps. We got to move over to Jira. So I'm bringing over a whole new workspace here. This is the Jira integration. Now, a lot of what you just saw is going to be repeated. These integrations work almost the exact same way. So here I am in Project Insight. I'm going to go into here. I want to go to this cloud infrastructure project. Same thing here. I've got my links column showing. These are linked to the Jira tickets or issues using their syntax, which is a key dash number. And I can go in here and say work added from PI into Jira. Go give it some time. We'll assign this one to Dylan. We'll click OK, save that off. And right now in the background, this task is being added to Jira. And there we go. We got BTT number 63. If I click on here, it's linked there. In the Jira, we actually have another button here. If you ever want to just resync a task, you can do it. But generally, it's the same thing. If I want to add comments from PI into Jira, we'll save that. It's adding the comment now. If I click that link, it's going to open up into Jira here. You can see it's assigned to Dylan. We've got the work added to here. I made that zoom that in, sorry. Am I down?
There we go.
What happened there? Sorry.
Your screen just went away for a moment. You're okay. We're on the home screen here of your piece here. It looks like the Jira one, maybe?
Oh, okay. It must be sharing only the window, not the whole screen. Let me check my screen. Sorry about that, everybody.
Not an issue. The nice thing, though, about all of this, right, is the connections are the same in what they can do. I can connect in with multiple instances. The user interface between the two tools is also the same because Project Insight is that one singular piece that's connecting those together. And we can see your screen, Steve.
Yeah, there we go. So here I'm going to add work added from PI to Jira. Here we go with 8 hours. And if I go ahead and assign that to Dylan. You'll see in a moment here, we'll get another ticket from Jira into PI. There's number 64. From here, you'll see there's a button here, sync for Jira. So if you ever need to do that, you can sync right there. I can add a comment from PI into Jira. So this is all working the same. And then, of course, you can just click this link and it'll take you right into the Jira tool. And there's my comment. If I add a new comment, there, and you'll see this is assigned to Dylan. One of the things we talk about is you can enter time here, 1 hour as well. So we'll get the time entry coming in. And if I navigate back, there's actually a link in Jira back to Project Insight. I can click on it and I'll have that time entry there that I just added there as well. So the time entry, what was added, this, even though I added it as me, but it was assigned to Dylan there. Same thing here. If I update the status, it will send it back to Jira and vice versa. And another thing that you can do is you can actually sync files. So if I want to add an attachment, that attachment was added to Project Insight, but it shows up in your Jira automatically as well. So the same basic principles as what we showed you in DevOps are available here in the Jira tool. Pretty much all the same stuff.
Yeah,
go ahead.
What's great about these two pieces, right, is, again, that visibility saves you, all of that effort of billable time, becomes recovered. We're seeing, up to 70,000 plus per year per team member who's going through and managing all of these as they go. So
that's right.
This then tracks into the other PI pieces, right, Steve, of our reporting with resource allocation or budgeting or any of the other parts, including that program and portfolio level that's right within our platform. So here, I'm on a project. The idea of this is if we're syncing this between DevOps or we're syncing this between Jira, it really is up to us and what we're doing. I can see, what we had planned. I can see the time that's actually been logged in and then any discrepancy between those two right here. I can click into this to see those time pieces that have been entered between the two different tools. So in that way, as I'm sending these tasks over to the dev team, they're getting them done, they're logging their time, they're marking them as complete, and we're moving down the line. The other piece that you can do here or on a report, which we'll show just in a moment, is the capacity part of this. Right, I get a better understanding of what my resources are able to do and have that alignment, because as I'm making those assignments, I can see during this time what are the other projects and tasks that these members are associated with, and do they have the bandwidth to do the work? And if not, I can suggest an alternate resource who may have that capacity. They can still then execute in the other tools, right, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, any of the hours or the effort that you put into the Jira system are going to just automatically show up into Project Insight, whether it's on a sprint or not. As long as there's a little bit of effort in there, that value will show up in the reports. Now, I think the real key to this is that these projects roll up into the program view automatically.
Right. Exactly.
In the portfolio.
So I can go into my program, which is a group of projects within Project Insight. And to Steve's point, I can have this one pointed to this Jira instance and this one pointed to this one and this project pointed to no Jira instance at all. That's and right. Still be completing the work. You then have visibility into how we're progressing from that higher level. I'm an executive and I just want to see the big milestones and, understand how we're working these to completion, or to the granularity of the task lists that make up each of these projects. So I can see all of those projects that are within my program. I can drill into these. I can even right click it and I want to insert new tasks. These will then follow the rules set by that project, where maybe something will go into DevOps or maybe it won't, based on what we've established there.
And what you're looking at here is a program task list with the projects at the top level. So if that project is connected to Jira, like Matt has mentioned, it'll automatically synchronize just the same rules, just a different view. That's the beauty of being able to pull this into Project Insight, is that you get all of these reporting aspects all combined into one view.
And then the higher up level that Steve had mentioned is the portfolio, which just allows me to group together these programs and projects together, which then gives me still that same Gantt or the board views or any of the other pieces, but now I have the ability to see which projects are within each program, and then still again get into the granularity of what's happening, add new tasks, let it follow the rules associated with each of those projects. So I can manage lots of work on one screen, right here. The other piece, sorry, Steve.
Why don't you go ahead and finish with the report?
I was just going to go into the idea that all of these drill into my, allocation reporting, both from a resource or a budgetary perspective, so I can understand how my team members are doing based on the role that they're taking on. I can drill in and see the projects that they're associated with. I can change the group by if I want, or even based on the filter, maybe I'm just looking at my team or my departments here. If I want to, even understand what's the capacity and what do we have remaining, I can do that, all the while syncing the data from the different tools, right? To know that Christopher Clark has available 40 hours a week. They're, have 15 on the docket. We've got 25 remaining. And then the other part to note is this is a drag and drop system, so I can still move from one resource to another as we're balancing out. When I make that change, that would then update my Jira or my DevOps in those projects.
Yeah, that's right. And I think real quick before we wrap this up, I'd like to just get back to showing everyone how to set that up in Jira real quick.
Sure.
So if you need to connect a project again, you can just create a new project. I'm just going to make a blank one. And then once you're in the project, you'll choose the integrations. In this case, I'm going to do this. Now you'll have to choose how I'm going to do this. Well, just one project to Jira, or one PI to one Epic, or many items. This is the most flexible. And you'll choose a Jira project, click connect, and then from here you can start mapping how you're gonna do it. So I want to map to an Epic. You can put the key in or find a list of the epics that you want to map to. I want to map to Epic 3, click add, and then now it's going to synchronize all the items in that epic back into here. So you can keep, this is the one-to-many option like I mentioned earlier. And again, just like the DevOps, you have the same thing here at the top. Jira updates PI and vice versa. And there's a video right here to explain all of the different options for how you're synchronizing the Jira integration into DevOps. So I think that once you know how to do this, you can pretty much just be a project manager in Project Insight and map to your Jira projects.
That's right. Again, the concept of this, let your dev teams work in the place where they're already executing, their project work, their tasks, their epics, all of that. No need to change the system that they're using, but then overlay with 100% real-time visibility as to what they're accomplishing and how much they can do in the future as well. So,
yeah. Well, that wraps up this power tutorial. I know it's a lot to jam in, so much stuff. There's way more to it than what we just showed you, but this is just a good way to get everybody started. If you have more questions, if you're a customer and you need more help on your in your integrations, just let us know. Or if you're a prospect and you're interested in the tool, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to share more with you.
Yeah, if you're a customer, reach out to your dedicated account manager. And if you are not one, please reach out to sales@projectinsight.com. We're happy to walk you through how this can uplift your work. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.